Have you ever tried cramming on an output? Gathering all of your ideas in one sitting to make ends meet? In today's episode of Writer's Block, we will talk about prompt deadlines and how it affects students and teachers, especially during this pandemic. Let's start off with a question. What exactly are deadlines, and why is it so important that students tend to be a ticking time bomb ready to explode because of it? As defined by Britannica Dictionary, deadlines are a date or time when something must be finished. The last date or hour or minute that something will be accepted. They are needed to establish expectations. Deadlines make it clear what we are expected to deliver and when we are expected to deliver it. It may appear that it was established in favor of both teacher and student cooperation, but things aren't as simple as we believed. I am Rizza Mel Gallero, and this is Writer's Block, as we try once luck to beat the clock. As seniors, you'll be preparing for a number of things, including the strain of completion for grade 10, which may take a tremendous toll on your academic affairs and mental health more than it should, since it's like a finished hourglass waiting to be turned and begin time again. Everyone can agree that the stress of deadlines adds fuel to fire. With that being said, our team ran a survey on the benefits and drawbacks of implementing deadlines and received at least 30 respondents. Our data states that 42% of our respondents strongly agree on having the same experience of being given heavy activities, yet were not given enough time to complete it before the deadline. Students are even less likely to answer their schoolworks, as of 5 out of 7 students implied that they are not motivated at all thanks to the lesser amount of time allotted for the activity. See, even before the clock hand starts moving, students are already demoralized to begin. Furthermore, out of 24 people, at least 14 view cramming as an effective way of compromising outputs, which simply shows that students actually consider procrastination as a decent way to go. We can certainly claim that these scenarios are situational because some responses contrast with one another, just like how the two clock hands don't move at the same pace. In terms of differences, 26% of students believe that outputs provided in a short period of time are normally easier to make, whereas 29% disagree. Time's up! Finish or not finish, satisfied or not, please pass your papers. Now that we've discussed the terrors deadlines have instilled in our learners, come on, don't look sad. If you so weren't pleased with the outcome of your works, we all know that there's always room for negotiations, as the majority of 71% of our respondents states that the most subject teachers understand when it is needed to stretch the deadline. But honestly, who would want to understand these numbers? Computing statistics such as these makes us scratch our heads and think about the time. As we continue to plan today's show, we invited 3 folks whom you can ask further about today's topic. For our first interviewee, we have Mr. Errol J. Arnabal, a senior and special program in science, technology, and engineering, on effective ways to deal with problems on time given to work on assigned outputs. For your first question, does cramming work for you when doing your outputs, or do you prefer manageable time?
You know, Miss Gallero, the art of cramming is something that I've mastered over 4 years of being an SSC student. But there are certain perks when the teacher gives their students a manageable deadline. So I believe that the latter is more preferable.
Why do you think so?
Well, personally, when I cram, I sometimes I tend to have mistakes in my final output. But when I'm given good, proper deadline per se, my outputs tend to have less errors.
Second question, how do you cope with prompt deadlines?
Well, there are three things that I routinely do in order to make myself, to keep myself sane when doing hard tasks or outputs. The three things that I do are eat, sleep, and play. I eat, I sleep, and I play games, and I play with friends.
For your last question, does procrastination help with the brainstorming on what to do or how to improve the output?
Well, first of all, procrastination is something that in this day and age is the norm per se, but it's a very bad thing. I tend to do it quite often, so that's a first person view of what procrastination is. So when I procrastinate, I'm met with more problems than usual. So I tend to get creative. My mind tells me that when I lack at something, I need to make up for it. So when I lack the time, I I don't sleep. I don't sleep. I don't eat. I don't know. I just don't get much interaction when I procrastinate. Rather than me having more time to spend with my family. So when I procrastinate, I tend to have more time since I also tend to have less sleep. When I procrastination has its perks also. So yeah, so as I said earlier, less sleep, more work can be done. So yeah, it helps with brainstorming on what to do on how to improve my outputs.
Next question, when you do your outputs or you procrastinate your output, are you satisfied with the outcome of it?
Actually, yes, because I think to myself that given the time that I allocated in order to finish said output, I tend to have satisfactory outputs. So the teachers grade me well enough naman personally. So I have no problems with my outputs that I tend to not, care that much about. Yeah.
For our next interviewee, we have Marian Isabel Carmona. A School for the Arts senior on prompt deadlines affect the quality of past outputs through a written interview.
Have you ever been faced with a large assignment and were given a limited amount of time to complete it? If you answered yes, please describe your experience.
Yes, I have experienced having an assignment and was only given a limited time to complete it. It was a very stressful experience because I had to do my assignment fast and at the same time answer it correctly.
Are you content with the timely outputs you have submitted, or do you think you could have done better?
I always work hard in doing my outputs, but I think I could even do better if there was a lot of time given to prepare or do the output.
What if the due date for your activities is long and you only have minimal workloads? What do you do?
I try to finish some of my work as early as possible even if some of my activities' due dates are still long, so that I would have time to do other things and to also have time for myself.
For our last interviewee, We have Karen Daraug, a licensed professional teacher and a registered guidance counselor at Iloilo Science and Technology University on the difference between the outputs that are given within a short or a long period of time.
Why are prompt deadlines so important?
As a guidance counselor, prompt deadlines are essential because the student will learn how to budget their time because they have that target date, and also they learn how to respect the time of their teachers as well.
Do prompt deadlines impose time discipline on students? How so?
Okay, yes, students get to know their priorities, and then they will assess, weigh things based on their needs and importance as of that moment.
Does the quality of the student's submitted output at its best when done late? Why do you think so?
Being late is not a guarantee for an excellent output or outcome, So of course there are reasons why a student failed to submit the output on time. So the teachers will going to interview the student and will validate and will going to assess why a student failed to submit the output on time. And I believe in the saying that haste makes waste.
As we have learned, deadlines affect each individual differently. Some may be fine with it and be able to cope, whereas others panic and feel burdened by its presence. The first point to highlight is communication. Students just need to communicate their ideas regarding the time allotted to them for the assigned activity and negotiate with the teacher. If they are stuck in a situation where they are unable to meet the deadline, the student can also ask their teacher to consider their circumstances. By any chance that the teacher declined their suggestion, they must prioritize their activity in order to meet the deadline. They can begin by organizing their workload and making progress off of them one by one, minimizing distractions as much as possible and ensuring that all of their tasks are completed. With these small but effective steps, we can put procrastinating over deadlines to an end.
After the findings of our conducted surveys and interviews, we have concluded that these effects differ from one student to the other. Most of the time, these effects may bring out the best and worst in students' management skills that may affect the outcome of their outputs. We've learned that we don't have to entirely replace a current custom if it doesn't work well with others. Instead, we would just investigate and hunt for more ways to reinforce it so that it's better and more suitable for the majority. The ticking time bomb is fast approaching, and the true deadline is within ourselves. As graduate students, it's hard to cope with these activities with the thought of the time ending. Sometimes all we need is an extension, but life can't always give us an extension, and we have to catch up in real time, in the real world. We are so invested in our future submissions that we tend to forget to enjoy our present, to have something good for the future. As prompt deadlines are approaching, all we have to do is manage what's important and prioritize it. Ask for help if you can. Enjoy the things that we are making so that the outcome may be timeless and worth the ignition.